Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and I have started the recording. So we are going to relax. We had a little bumpy ride getting in here. Everyone, just chill. I think a few more people will come in momentarily. And deep breath. We're going to start with some breath work. Tonight we are gathered for the Venus Circle, and the Venus-Moon contact is technically on March 24th of 2023 at 9 degrees Taurus, and we are reclaiming at the heart chakra and working with the warrior archetype this month. So deep breath. I thought because we are at the heart chakra, it might be a good idea to do our chakra breath work and make that connection above, below, and at the heart. So let's just get grounded in our space. Deep breath in. And make that connection above, below, and at the heart. And we're going to start at the root chakra and work our way up to the crown. So put your focus at your root, making that connection to your earth star. That is the core of Mother, where all our nutrient comes from. The root is connected with survival and grounding and body and new beginnings, survival, and the element of earth. So let's make that connection, picturing a beautiful red crystal infused with light from within, spinning counterclockwise to the left, and take a deep breath in right at your root. And hold and release. Come on up to your creative center, your sacral chakra, associated with your emotions and sexuality, change and movement and pleasure. And it's also associated with the element of water. So here I want you to picture a beautiful orange crystal infused with light from within and spinning clockwise to the right. And take a deep breath in, connecting to your own creative center. Deep breath in. And hold and release. Come on up to your power center, your solar plexus, associated with your personal power, will, and self-esteem, your autonomy and energy and metabolism, as well as the element of fire. So here I want you to picture a beautiful golden yellow crystal infused with light from within and spinning counterclockwise to the left. And take a deep breath in, connecting to your own power center. Deep breath in. And hold and release. Come on up to the heart chakra, our star of the show tonight. Feeling that expansion, breathing as if you're breathing through and from your heart. Your heart chakra is associated with balance and relationship, healing and unity, as well as the element of air. So here I want you to picture a beautiful emerald green crystal infused with light from within and spinning clockwise to the right. And take a deep cleansing breath in, expanding your heart chakra, making that connection above and below, or opening that connection between above and below. Deep breath in. And hold and release. Come on up to the throat chakra, associated with your authentic voice and creativity, communication and vibrations and mantras, as well as the element of sound. And here I want you to picture a light blue crystal infused with light from within and spinning counterclockwise to the left. And take a deep cleansing breath in, connecting to your own voice. Deep breath in. And hold and release. Come on up to your third eye in the center of your forehead, associated with your intuition and clairvoyance, imagination, vision and seeing, as well as the element of light. And we want to picture an indigo crystal, that deep midnight blue, infused with light from within and spinning clockwise to the right. And take a deep cleansing breath in, activating your third eye, your Iwaju. Deep breath in. And hold and release. Come on up to the crown chakra above your head, associated with knowledge and understanding and consciousness, as well as the element of thought. And here I want you to picture a beautiful amethyst purple, a violet, your favorite shade of purple, infused with light from within and spinning counterclockwise to the left. Make that deeper connection to your higher self and your soul star chakra. Deep breath in. And hold and release. So, thank you, everyone. I needed that as much as anyone today because we just had a little scramble with technology, but I'm grateful for the alternates that are available. Praise God. And we do have our very special guest, Carmen Harris, waiting in the wings. But I'm going to lay a few things on our table first. So everyone just relax and open to receive. This is mostly the Venus Circle. I did open it up to invite others because we do want to reach a little bit of a wider audience as we have these guest speakers. It is so fun to expand this community, and I'm so grateful for her time and energy being with us. So thank you, darling. And she's going to have some good juju around Taurus energy, which is personal and activated for her as well. So our theme for the night, where do we start? Well, you know me, I like to review. So just to make sure that you're tracking, the last month was Aries in the throat chakra, and we were reclaiming new identity, drives, and desires, and solidifying self-preservation and direction. So I'm curious how many people got some clarity over the last month about their direction and about what they're really reclaiming and what you would like to have informed by June, July. How is that going? Have you set your 2 goals, which we would have talked about in your original reading, would have told you to think of 2 goals, a tangible goal that you could measure by June, July, and an essence goal. So even my newbies coming in now, try to think about how you want to feel by that time as well. That's what the essence goal is all about. What kind of energy do you want to be radiating out, and what type of energy do you want to be experiencing around you by then? So this is opening things up. And in the Venus Circle, I do like to remind people, even though we just went from the root to the crown, in Kelly's world, we start at the root and we end at the root is my thing. So in the Venus Circle, the 9 months of release work that we did, we started at the root, released all the way up to October, where we met at the Soul Star, and we came back in through the crown, cleansed and purified, and now we're coming back down from the crown to the root. And that's where we are going to anchor things by the end of this cycle in June, July. So this is the heart chakra, which connects it all. And Taurus, we know, is our juiciest earth find out there, associated with our most important things, food, sex, and money, the primal things that we need to function as human beings, as creatures of earth, as children of mama. So this focus this month is to reclaim a new level of self-love, beauty, and sustenance. Deep breath. We are making that connection to our own heart first, and then we're going to radiate that light out as we solidify embodied passion and vitality. So I'm so grateful that we're moving into spring so that I can do more activities and be more physical outside. That gets me in touch with Mother Earth in the most critical ways. We are moving towards something that's going to culminate in Leo, which is also the heart and in the same family as Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo, Aquarius are all related to our self-love, self-worth, and self-value things. So this month, it's really all about cultivating a deeper connection to your own definition or sense of self-value and self-worth, as well as finally connecting to what you want to create and bring into form by the end of this cycle, which is July 2023, right around the corner. Because this activation is in Taurus, we start with gratitude for all that we've learned and experienced. Okay, deep breath. This is the Venus cycle of 18 months, and we're coming down to the wire, to the last 3 months. Gratitude always opens the way for a more elevated expression of your desires. We acknowledge that our self-worth has been improved and expanded over the last 2 years, and we know that we can build on that going forward. As you open your heart and expand your consciousness, noticing beauty and abundance everywhere becomes natural. We recognize the garden that the life-death-life cycle exemplifies, and that we are made in the same image as our source, Mother Earth. So we too have seasons and cycles that we have to adhere to as well, allowing for and co-creating with the natural endings and new beginnings. So there's definitely a vibe of that going on as well right now because we're in the Pisces-Aries cusp. So there's this culmination of the last year and this birthing of the new year that's bubbling right near the surface, ready to come on through. We're calling on the warrior archetype, that peaceful warrior of the heart, who asks you to own your power and stand in your truth. You are learning to stand up for yourself and what you believe in without apology. You have simplified your life and been stripped of the non-essential so that now you can devote your time, energy, and resources to that which you deeply care about. This archetype does not waste energy on the frivolous. You have to let go of draining relationships, refine your sense of self over time, and cleared blockages on your path so that you could arrive at here and now, a place where you can be sovereign and fulfilled. That's the big one, y'all. I want us fulfilled, ultimately. You have developed your sensitivities and honed your psychic abilities so that you can honor your own nature, respect others, and follow your instincts about what is right for you personally. Deep breath. The light work of this archetype is to expand and express your own rare sense of beauty, abundance, and love. This month will fortify the connection to your mental body and your heart chakra, initiating and reclaiming your freedom to be an authentic, unique individual who is capable of serving others while still being sovereign, self-contained, and independent. This Venus cycle, more than any other, pushes us to really connect to some deeper meaning, to something of value to the soul. It is really worth dedicating our time, energy, and resources to developing our connection to the heart and soul. You've come a long way in the last year. Many of us are at 0 point and facing the initiation of a completely new path and purpose. The difference between then and now is how much more centered in the heart and grounded in your own authenticity that you are. So own it. Yes, deep breath. We're going to own it. So powerful. Now, I want to talk about the things we're going to reclaim. I got a little bullets list here, and then we're going to call in Carmen to share with us her 2 cents on some of this and some of her gifts and tools that might help us as we are reclaiming at the heart, as we are redefining our terms around our values, our self-value, and the value of the things and people and circumstances in our lives that we want to sustain over the long term, right? This is investment time. This is building and putting things together behind the scenes that are going to protect and support you. So let's think about that. We're opening this heart chakra in a way that connects us to Mother this month. We want to be very mindful of our heartbeats. We want to get our feet and backs on the earth and soak up those electrons and downregulate our nervous systems and remember our connection. That connection happens in our heart. It's the only electromagnetic organ in the body. I guess the brain is electromagnetic too, but apparently the heart sends a lot more messages. And it's connected to the electromagnetic field of Mother Earth. So that's what's happening too, where if we can strengthen and fortify our own connections, that strengthens and fortifies Mother and vice versa. So we want to pay attention, and it is the air element, so breathing, breath work. Most of us are pretty shallow breathers by nature. We have to consciously go deeper, consciously stretch that out. Play with each nostril. There's a right brain, left brain. I think I put that meditation up on my YouTube channel. There's different ways that our breath resets our system as well, so we want to pay attention to that this month. As we are reclaiming the new priorities that allow for new ways of sharing wealth, beauty, and abundance, because that's the idea. We want to be rooted in the knowing, okay? The powers that be profit and gain by making us believe in scarcity, or that it could all be gone tomorrow, and that kind of thing. Mother is a regenerating creature. We are adaptive creatures. We will always find a way to survive as long as we stay connected to her. If we get too far away up in the stars and floating around in the universe trying to go to Mars and the moon and whatever, that doesn't work for our vehicle. Our bodies don't fly around the universe like that. This vehicle was made for this planet. So we're learning this month to connect with it. Laughter helps unlock that breath down in your diaphragm, down in your belly. So get some belly laughter. Do some comedy, y'all. I'm big on comedy and music. You know that. Joy, sensuality, sexuality if you're lucky. Just activating your own inner vitality. What does it take for you to feel uplifted and alive and vital, like your blood is flowing. You feel strong and flexible. I love that feeling. And I miss it because I did have a hysterectomy, which took me out of my workout thing for a couple of years, and I'm back at zero trying to start over. But I love it because the timing is so divine, and we have the technology, and I know the science behind the dieting and everything else now, so I know I can do it. So let's connect to our bodies. Make that connection to Source and Mother Earth and Father Sky. We are the bridge. We are the connection between Mother Earth and Father Sky. We are the combination of that consciousness and this body. So tuning into nature's rhythms, listening to drum beats of whatever kind you like, okay, whatever resonates with your heartbeat. Play more drums, listen to more drums, connect with the drum this month. We want to be living in and tending to your life as a garden, okay? Think of it as a true garden. Multiple things that have to grow together and thrive together and go through their cycles together. So we say consistent dedication rewards us with food and flowers, right? Substance and beauty, that's the garden. That's what we want for our world, for our lives, is substance and beauty. We want to be supported and protected, but we also need, okay? Not just a desire, but we need beauty in our lives as the other part of our makeup, and especially the connection to our heart. The heart requires the beauty way. We're connecting to our authentic values, a generous heart, and a practical approach. Just really being connected to what's important to you, right? When we say authentic values, what's important to you? What matters? Where are you investing your time, energy, resources? What are you getting in return? You know, that's a big piece with Taurus. Taurus energy and people that have it activated like to invest in things that they know they're going to get a return in. They don't like gambling so much, and when they do, it's a shadow. I do know some Taurus gamblers, and it's deep. And so there's a way that we can make that connection to our own truth. The generous heart, again, being connected to gratitude, of course, opens the way. We know that, without a doubt. And even in the darkest moment, I try to make myself count my blessings. And it makes a difference because you just really get to that zone where you realize none of it is that bad, no matter how it feels in the moment. And the practical approach, again, what's going to work for you? What suits your nature, right? We don't want to make our nature wrong. We don't want to impose it on a bunch of folks either, but we want to understand our nature so we can accommodate our nature and protect it, okay? Finding your love for the physical experiences, for being in a body. I know when we have aches and pains or when we can't sleep, when there's different things that affect our bodies, then being here is no fun at all. But in Taurus, every bit of good juju is based in the body. It's our senses. Tasting, smelling, seeing, hearing, touching, our sixth sense where we feel and intuit and just sense things, right? When those are narcotized by food and pharmaceuticals and cut off from their natural flow, we get sick. That's not good for us. And so this month, too, we want to be sharing and communicating with, living with a respect for all life and Mother Earth especially. Get back in touch with your earth body. I'm starting to plant seeds because I want these pumpkins by November, and you have to do it super early now. So I'll have a little planting stuff going quarterly pretty much now. You want to find this way to connect because every time I do that, I get messages, y'all. There's ways that the trees and the plants and the rocks even talk to us. But you got to be out there. You got to be touching them. You got to be talking to them. You got to be listening and open and recognizing that you have more resources than humans would let us believe, okay? We have many more resources. And the biggest one of all is I want you all to practice with your electromagnetic field. What opens your heart and what shuts it down? How does it feel when you expand your light and your auric field? And how does it feel when you contract and pull it in? And get proficient at it. You want to become skilled at this. That is going to be the key. So deep breath. Miss Carmen, honey, do you have anything you would like to add? Come on in and first introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming from. And then what do you think about what we've laid on the table today?
Oh, my goodness. Well, hello, first of all, to you, Kelly, and to all of the lovely, lovely beings here. I am very grateful to be here with you today. As Kelly said, my name is Carmen. I am an embodied liberation practitioner and Reiki teacher. I run an organization called Freeform Embodied Liberation and an online Reiki training program called Reiki for Reparation. And Kelly, you have laid out so much on the table that I'm like, where do I begin? But I'm going to go ahead and begin at the beginning. This is a season that's really close to my heart and a topic that's really close to my heart, as you said, because I am a Taurus and my Venus is in Taurus. And all of the things that have been, happening and leading up to some really huge shifts lately for me have just resulted in like download after download after download. So again, I'm grateful to be able to be here and contribute to this space. But I want to go back to the point I think you made about getting ready to have some new priorities and really embodying those priorities and what that means. For me, the heart it kind of runs parallel to what you were talking about before, how humans are the connecting point, the bridge between Mother Earth and Father Sky. So if we had to localize that even more, the heart is that bridge between our skyward and earthward connection. It is so connected to our bodies that if it stops working, our entire body stops working. It's so connected to our mental and emotional and spiritual selves that from like time immemorial, poets, sages, spiritual thinkers of all kinds have always talked about it. There's no way around talking about the heart. If you are a thinking or spiritual person, if you're alive in any capacity, it's there for you and it's absolutely vital. So when we talk about setting new priorities, we have to be talking about what our heart actually thinks about where we got lined up, what our heart feels, our heart's awareness about what it is we're envisioning for our lives. And I think that I'll speak from my own experience, but I know it to be true for many in the collective as well, that there have been times when I got caught up in visualizing based on what I saw in the world, or even just based on other things that I saw that I thought were nice, that were not aligned with what my own heart was being called to.
Oh, Carmen, can I jump in real quick?
Absolutely.
Please, that is such a big button for me. I need to put this on the table for you all, is that I probably said this before to this class, but just in case, I feel like we need to be able to go inward to our heart and feel what we need, desire, and deserve, and then look outside to see what will assist us in accomplishing that. Now, I live with a Taurus, and he operates the complete opposite. He looks around to see what's available and then chooses from there. And half the time it's unsatisfying, it's unfulfilling because he didn't consult his heart first. So I just feel what you just said so deeply that if we can make that connection, we can actually go beyond what we've seen. We can actually have better. Right? But I didn't mean to stop you. Continue on.
No. That's perfect. That's perfect. And it's so funny because I have had that exact tendency. Like I was saying, you look on the outside, and I'm very connected with the practical nature of the Taurus, right? Like you want to see what are the tangible possibilities that I see in front of me, which one of these is going to cost me the amount of energy that I want to pay in order to get it, and then you go after that thing. But there's this other aspect to the Taurus nature. We have to remember that those big bulls don't necessarily move all the time, right? But when they move, they can move hard and fast, and it's because they had that heart, that powerhouse that drives them so far and fast in one direction that everybody better get out of the way if a bull's heart is activated.
For sure.
Everybody better get out the way. Like literally, you got people in Italy running down the street for miles.
We got the visual.
So I feel like in the moments when I really have consulted my heart, and I would challenge all of us to consult the heart and really take the time to sit with developing a felt sense of what it is that your heart needs and wants in any given situation. That's something that can take some time to develop, but like you said, Kelly, it's investment time. It's absolutely worth taking the time to sit and just consult, to let your body relax, to tune into that area, and just acknowledge, be in the space with it, listen to it. You know, however it comes to you, feel through it, let things come up and out. And once the clearing is done, get to the space where you can ask it sincere questions and where you can absolutely trust that you are getting the answer that your heart wants you to get, as opposed to the one that your head wants you to get, or that your mama wants you to get, or your husband, or whoever. Developing that felt sense, for me, is what helps me be in a space of knowing, as opposed to just thinking, you know, as far as my priorities and life path is concerned.
Yes, I love that. Did you have other points you wanted to make before we go to the next thing?
You know, I have one more, and I'll keep it short.
No, take your time. We're here for you.
Okay, well, perfect then. I did just have one more thing, though. So the first thing was priorities as felt sense. The second part of it was priorities as practice. And this is the second portion for me of embodiment. The first thing, just like you brought it together perfectly, Kelly, is looking inward. And then the second thing is taking that heartfelt desire and then actually putting actions, rituals, and practices in place that support you with manifesting whatever that thing is. So it's one thing to have the felt sense and say, oh, I want to save up enough money to buy a parcel of land and a house. It's another thing to say, I feel this. This is something that's in alignment with my heart and soul. And so in order to do this, I'm going to go ahead and download this banking app, make sure I don't go over my budget every month. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to cut this out of my spending budget. And I'm going to do, you know, the things that are written down that are priorities in your everyday life, getting real with it. That's the second part of really embodying our priorities. I love putting it on a vision board. I love scripting it. I love praying on it. I love sending it to all your family and friends and having them pray on it. I love it. And as a Taurus, I love doing it.
Yes, I love that too. Using your hands, co-creating. I love it. Yes.
Exactly. Set the alarm. Have an accountability partner. Write it down. Check it off. Just making sure
that feels good.
Yes. Yeah, it feels good.
No, I love it. And that's where we're resetting and going within this month, y'all, is to really think about what's important. What is the priority for this year? What are you creating or co-creating for this year? What are you bringing into form? And when she lingers in Leo and asks you to really connect to your heart and what you love and what you're passionate about, that's going to reset everything. So right now, we're still reclaiming in the cycle that has more to do with our roles and responsibilities and our relationships and partnerships. So let's be clear about that too, that right now we're reclaiming a new level in that zone specifically so that we can go to some new levels when it does hit Leo, right? All right. And then the other thing we do is reflect. Remember, everything is related. We release and we reclaim, and they're all connected. So when we were releasing in May of 2022, we were at the heart chakra. It was Aries, and we were releasing the rebel archetype, which is just bucking authority, wanting your way, you know, doing the Aries hard-headed, you know, me first, all that kind of thing. We had to really dig in there to the true identity and the true connection to the heart and what that really meant for you as an individual. And the trap that we released and cleared with was split in two. So if you remember, you know, that's the kind of division that we go through when we take jobs just for the money or stay in relationships just because it feels like it might be safer than being on your own. It's not usually the case. So how do you feel about what you cleared out of your heart that's really no longer you, that's allowed you to connect to your own identity at a new level, your purpose at a new level, so that now, going forward, reclaiming at the heart these new values in Taurus? And can you think of anything kind of May, June, July that you were going through that was heart-related, that you're maybe healed from now, or you understand better now, let's say? Looking back, it'd be a lot easier. And so think about that as well. We want to look at our tools. Now, again, I have some newbies. I want to get definitely Demetra's Venus activations. That's your personal council. That's going to be part of your package. And then we have our sky council. So for those of you who know what Venus is doing, as she moves through Taurus, she is directly affecting your Taurus, Scorpio, and your Leo, Aquarius departments. So as we call in these new levels of value and expression and connection to the heart and trust, self-trust for our own good timing and things like that, in the Taurus department, we are initiating the new level of comfort and security by your own definition. And we're integrating our power from the Scorpio side to do it. We're getting creative from the Scorpio side. We're going to our soul from the Scorpio side so that we can make that Taurus-Scorpio lineup work right. But the Leo-Aquarius side's got to grow out of comfort zone into new territory, which means the other things going on between you and your own self-expression, because what also happens at heart chakra and in the Taurus energy is we start to develop, again, who you really are and what you really care about and what has value and meaning for you. So Leo Aquarius is about being the authentic self and making your unique contribution and trusting that you're capable of making a unique contribution. So that's the part that's growing. Because we need certain security things, some of the fun things might have to adapt and move around a little bit. And again, with just knowing where we're at. When we look at the Sky Council, almost all the energy is lined up in Pisces, Aries, Taurus. I mean, we got a little sprinkle around the rest. But this is all showing up for March 24th chart in the 12th and 1st house. So again, we're on this cusp of incubating the new identity and purpose, but calling in what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, what you want it to smell like and taste like. You know, really thinking about your creations and how they are little lives of their own and what's going on there. Or let's say, what are you cultivating? What are you building? Whatever that may be. What are you co-creating in that regard? And the council meeting is just off the chain, y'all. The Sky Council, we got a serious party in Taurus. Moon and Venus are the feminine lights. We know that. These are our values and our personal default settings. Juno's how we do partnership and commitment. It only goes through Taurus every 5 years. So this is a reset around commitments and connections with our partners that can be deeper and more fulfilling, ostensibly, if we've done the work. And North Node is wrapping it up, about to move into Aries, but not there yet. So it's still in Taurus with Uranus in Taurus. And so we have this awakening of a new path that I like to call the beauty way, where we're connected to our bodies and we're connected to food and flowers and substance and beauty and making that whole connection. But here's where it's all waking up. This is all the new beginning stuff. The past, the only thing we have in Scorpio is the South Node, which is past life skill sets and things that we've had access to before. So what we want to watch here is any karmic connections with people crossing our path. As we call in this new level of beauty and fulfillment, certain folks are not going to make it. They're not going to make the cut. Okay? It is a frequency thing. It's a vibrational thing. When you raise your vibration and you're operating in that garden beauty Taurus way, there are certain folks that can't operate there because they like stress and strife. They like conflict and crazy, right? So we're not doing that. Taurus likes peace and beauty. And the Scorpio, you know, any karmic connections, try to just ask that you clean it up. But what's deep is we have no Leo, which means we got to bring in the heart consciously. We have to think about how we feel and what's authentic for us. And Pluto is at 0 Aquarius, just lean in there, which is causing a T-square between the nodes and Pluto. So again, with the transformation of our path and direction is real, and it's based, or let's say rooted in, your self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem, and your self-value. So just know that, and know that you're setting those intentions around your identity, purpose, and your own values so that you can live according to your own values and not be imposed on by the culture or society or this social collective madness, right? So, Carmen, you want to touch on any of that?
Yes. Wow. Again, Kelly, thank you for being so thorough and just laying it out the way that you do. The fact that all of those things are in Taurus makes so much sense in my life right now.
I hear you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. But I think that the thing that stuck out to me the most about what you said is actually about watching the karmic connections that sometimes arise, in moments like this where we're trying to incubate something new. And when you use the word incubate, I think that's just so perfect because we really do need to be protective around this new thing that's emerging that may not be fully formed yet. And when those karmic connections or those things from our past tend to come up, there's an immediate visceral kind of reaction to those things, which is what makes them so attractive and, sometimes you would say so dangerous. But there's an immediate visceral reaction. And for me, as an embodied liberation practitioner, it is because those things live not just in our psyche, but actually in our bodies, in our DNA, in our sinews and muscles and organs and tissues. That stuff is there, in our nervous system, of course. So as we go about incubating and protecting this new thing that's trying to come forward through us, this new identity that we're trying to slowly but surely feel out and experiment with and move into and flesh out, like it really is important for us to connect with each part of the body, chakras as well, but the actual muscles, and listen to them and allow them to be cleared out. And sometimes this is like a cleansing, like an herbal regimen, but many times if we listen to our actual bodies, they will tell us things like water. They will tell us things like sunlight. They will tell us things like movement. All of these earth-based Taurus nature things that you've been talking about are the things that our bodies need, not just to grow the new vision, but to cleanse the old, to fully flush out what came before so that we can root into this new ground and flourish without all those rocks in that soil trying to hem things up. That's what's needed.
I love it. And that's the other reminder here is that every time we go to a new level, there's always a test to get there. And so we have to be mindful, and again, with knowing ourselves, knowing our nature, knowing our needs, helps us define our terms in those moments when we get tested. How bad do you want it? And is this really what you want? And why do you want what you want? What's your motivation? What's your why? Yes, thank you, Carmen, so much. Now, the divinations are super deep. You got anything else before we go into the divinations?
Oh, my goodness. Honestly, I have so much. I have a page of.
That would be good. And then some suggestions about how to listen to our bodies, because imagine half the culture has no clue. So we need some tips and tricks for that. If you have any, off the top that you could give us about listening to our body or opening that dialogue, starting the conversation where you're actually trying to listen,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I would say I learned a practice called focusing. And it's a practice used by lots of somatic therapy or somatic psychotherapy practitioners that was kind of codified by Eugene Gendlin in the 1960s and 1970s. But really, I think the reason I connected with it so deeply is because this is ancient practice, of course, as many things are, kind of repackaged for a more modern or Western mind. And it's very, very simple. It's a matter of sitting in a place that's going to be quiet and free from distraction, of allowing each part of your body and really inviting each part of your body to relax. Some people start at the head, some people start at the feet. But, just telling your feet, I invite you to relax, I send you peace, something of that nature. This is what we'll do in the meditation later. And then you literally just take the time and give yourself the space to sit with what arises in you. And you pay attention. For some people, they could feel nothing. For other people, they could feel a fluttering in their stomach. They could feel a tightness in their thigh. It's going to be different for everybody and every time that you do it. But if you are able to give yourself the time and the attention consistently, again, this is an investment style practice, consistently, then you will see that over time, your body not only gives you the sensation, but the ability to correctly interpret what that sensation was about. If there was any meaning or message connected to it that your body was trying to give to you. This is a practice that you can do with a partner. Some people feel more comfortable that way because it holds them accountable to the practice, but it's also something that you can very easily do on your own. It's something that I've incorporated into the embodied liberation coaching that I've done and that I've also taught to Reiki students. And it's, like I said, it's super simple. Consistency is the key, and it's very profound once you start getting those messages directly from your body about what it is that you need and don't need to do.
I say, no, that's so good. And we need more practice. We need more reminders about this because we all do in this technological world. We're all in our heads and our upper chakras most of the time. And so this reminder to drop down through your heart into your base and feel what's really going on there, What else you got, baby girl?
Okay, so the other thing that I have always done, I've always been a dancer. And this is the more active practice that I recommend. Yoga, dancing, any type of movement that is going to really activate your body and allow energy to move through and out of your limbs, through and out of your organs. I mean, not only are you going to feel physically great afterward, but you also have much more access into what is going on with you in all departments, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Those types of things come out in dance. They come out in yoga, again, because so much lives in our bodies that when we move, when we start to flush things out, we get that clarity that we've been looking for. You get that emotional release that you've been needing. You get that spiritual guidance in a dream that night. It comes through. When you can start to move your body, you can start to move lots of forms of energy in your life. So I'm a big dancer. But if it's yoga that's your thing, if it's, Tai Chi or whatever, movement is definitely highly recommended.
Yes. And that doubles down in the Aries-Taurus zone, y'all. Aries-Taurus is the infant and the toddler. This is you, the individual, and it's fully embodied. Think about that age when they're getting to know their limbs and getting to move around and starting to have power. Think about that's the evolution we're undergoing right now. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, darling. Anything else before divinations?
Oh, man. So the last thing that's so important to me, especially as a Taurus, is that connection to Mother Earth. You went through it, but, our need really to be outside, experiencing the elements, experiencing the natural flora and fauna that are around us with our feet and our hands in the dirt is very, very real to me.
Yeah.
And with that, you also talked about living and tending to life as a garden. And I love, love, love that metaphor. And when I think about a garden, I think at this point in my journey, even more about like a food forest, I don't know if anybody here is into permaculture or like ancient ways of gardening and tending the earth. But so that with that, like the entire earth is really a garden. It's all a system. One thing feeds the other, supports another thing. When something dies, another thing grows. So I think that for me, for a lot of my life, I thought of gardens as like, flowers or veggies in like raised beds. And that's cool too. I love it. But at this point, I'm really into thinking about the systems that we put in place in our lives, and how the different aspects of the self feed and support each other. You know, because it's one thing if you are flourishing purpose or career-wise even, if you're flourishing in the money department, but if that money is not feeding your health, then where we really at, you know?
Hello. I know that's right.
Yeah.
Quality,
I
not quantity.
And
the other reminder is not to have things strangling each other out. Some things aren't meant to grow together. So we want to be mindful in our lives like that, too, that there's just certain departments that work over here, and that we do have some special needs departments, you know, that are a little picky and don't want stuff growing around them like that, you know. So being mindful of your own garden, how that works for you, the individual.
Exactly. Just, you know, paying attention again, because that's how our ancestors did it. Like, that's how they came up with all this stuff. They paid attention.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, whether it's paying attention to the earth to determine where we need to plant, the plant that needs full sun versus the one that needs, you know, sun 2 hours a day, or paying attention to our bodies to realize, you know what, actually, my stomach doesn't like milk. I love ice cream, but my stomach doesn't like it. You know, like stuff like that is just so simple, but so profound.
And the other thing I had a visual while you were talking is the mushrooms and the mycelium and the root network that is within Mother beneath our feet. To know that they're all in communication, they're all connected. It was just a big wake up when I don't know who it was or what I was listening to that talked about how mighty the plant kingdom is. It's actually the strongest kingdom. It can take over all of this. So it's important for us to recognize that we have those energetic tendrils as well. So again, with tending to ourselves as to where they reach out, where they, you know, how they touch, who's communicating with who, how's that working, or do we have blockages? Do we have zones that are dead zones where things aren't growing properly? And we need to look at that, see what's going on there, you know?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
So, deep breath, y'all. Here comes our messages for the month. Our story.
I just wanted to say, that really, the points that you made were so accurate, and it so describes everything I've been going through. And even going back and listening to last month's Venus Circle that I didn't get to attend, I was shaking at how accurate it was. So it's like, whether we're here or not, we're going to be going through these things. I really appreciate this circle.
We appreciate you too, darling. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Glad you could make it tonight. Yes. All right. Relax into your space and open to receive. So this month, our task number 5 is serving the non-rational. This is another one of my favorite segments, too. I just love this. We are going deeper, y'all, and this is the thing about the reclamation side. Let me just say for some of my newbies that have come in the midpoint, and that is on the release side, we did the red shoes story, which was about those kind of unconscious contracts that we make in life and the obligations and things that burdens we put on ourselves, let alone the ones that are imposed on us. So we cleared all that out. And now we're doing Vasilisa the Wise, is the story about reconnecting to your instincts and intuition and really learning how your senses are your instincts and intuition. Just like Carmen said, our bodies can give us messages. That is the best. That computer, nobody can hack. You have to learn how this one works and how it communicates with you. But it's so totally doable. And it increases our power when we're connected to our instincts and intuition like this. So, story time. We all love story time. In this part of the tale, Vasilisa has asked Baba Yaga for fire, and the Yaga agrees, but only if Vasilisa will do some household chores for her in exchange. So the psychic tasks of this month are staying with the hag, which means acclimating to the great wildish power of the feminine psyche. Coming to recognize your own power and the powers of inner purifications, unsoiling, sorting, nourishing, building energy and ideas. Deep breath. This is when she was washing the Yaga's clothes and cooking for her and cleaning her house and sorting out the elements. Not so long ago, women were deeply involved in the rhythms of life and death. They inhaled the pungent odor of iron from the fresh blood of childbirth. They washed the cooling bodies of the dead as well. The psyches of modern women, especially those from industrial and technological cultures, are often deprived of these close-up and hands-on, blessed and basic experiences. But there is a way for the novice to fully participate in the sensitive aspects of the life and death cycles. Baba Yaga, the wild mother, is the teacher whom we can consult in these matters. She instructs the ordering of the house of the soul. She imbues an alternate order to the ego, okay? So she instructs the order of the house of the soul, and she alternates the order of the ego. One where magic can happen, joy can be done, appetite is intact, things are accomplished with gusto. Baba Yaga is the model for being true to the self. She teaches both death and renewal. In the tale, she teaches Vasilisa how to care for the psychic house of the wild feminine. Laundering the Baba Yaga's clothes is a fabulous symbol. In the old countries, and still today, in order to launder one's clothes, one descends to the river, and there makes the ritualistic ablutions that people have made since the beginning of time in order to renew the cloth. This is a very fine symbol for a cleansing and purification of the entire bearing of the psyche. In mythology, the woven cloth is the work of the life-death-life mothers. These life-death-life mothers teach women sensitivity to what must die and what shall live, to what shall be carted out, to what shall be woven in. In the tale, Baba Yaga charges Vasilisa to do the laundry, to bring this weaving, these patterns known to the life-death-life goddess, out into the open, to consciousness, handling them, washing them, renewing them. To wash something is a timeless purification ritual. It not only means to purify, it also means, like baptism, to drench, to permeate with a spiritual numen and mystery. In the tale, the washing is the first task. It means to make taut again that which has become slackened from wearing. The clothes are like us, worn and worn until our ideas and values are slackened by the passing of time. The renewal, the revivifying, takes place in the water, in the rediscovering of what we really hold to be true, what we really hold sacred. Deep breath. In archetypal symbolism, clothing represents persona, the first view the public gains of us. Persona is a kind of camouflage which lets others know only what we wish them to know about us, and nothing more. But there is an older meaning to persona, one found in all the Mesoamerican rites, one well known to healers. The persona is not simply a mask to hide behind, but rather a presence which eclipses the mundane personality. In this sense, persona, or mask, is a signal of rank, virtue, character, and authority. It is the outward significator, the outward display of mastery. Deep breath. I like very much this initiatory task, which requires a woman to cleanse the persona, the clothing of authority, of the great Yaga of the forest. By washing the Yaga's clothes, the initiate herself will see how the seams of persona are sewn, what patterns the gowns take. Soon she herself will have some measure of these persona to take place in her closet amidst others that she has fashioned throughout her life. It is easy to imagine that the Yaga's marks of power and authority, her clothes, are made as she herself is fashioned, psychologically strong, enduring, and powerful. To wash her laundry is a metaphor through which we learn to witness, examine, and take on this combination of qualities. We learn how to sort, how to mend and renew the instinctive psyche through a purification, the washing of the fibers of the being. Vasilisa's next task is to sweep the hut and the yard. In Eastern European fairy tales, brooms are often made of sticks from trees and bushes, and sometimes the roots of wiry plants. Vasilisa's work is to sweep this object made of plant matter over the floors and the yard to keep the place clear of debris. A wise woman keeps her psychic environment uncluttered. She accomplishes such by keeping a clear head, keeping a clear place for her work, working at completing her ideas and projects. For many women, this task requires that they clear a time each day for contemplation, for a space to live in that is clearly their own, with paper, pens, paints, tools, conversations, time, freedoms, that are all for this work and this work only. For many, psychoanalysis, contemplation, meditation, and the taking of solitude, and other experiences of descent and transformation provide this special time and place for the work. Each woman has her own preferences and her own way. Ashe. If this work can take place in Baba Yaga's hut, so much the better. Even near the hut is better than far away. In any event, one's wild life has to be kept ordered on a regular basis. It is not good enough to go to it for one day or a few once a year. But because it is Baba Yaga's hut that Vasilisa sweeps, because it is Baba Yaga's yard, we are also speaking of keeping unusual ideas clear and ordered as well. These ideas include those which are uncommon, mystical, soulful, and uncanny. To sweep the premises means not only to begin to value the non-superficial life, but to care for its orderliness. Sometimes women become confused about soul work and neglect its architecture until it is taken back by the forest. Gradually, the structures of the psyche are overgrown until they finally are all but hidden in an archaeologic ruin in the psyche's unconscious. A cyclical and critical sweeping will prevent this from occurring. When women have cleared space, the wild nature will better thrive. Deep breath. To cook for Baba Yaga, we ask literally, how does one feed the Baba Yaga of the psyche? What does one feed so wild a goddess? Firstly, to cook for the Yaga, one lays a fire. A woman must be willing to burn hot, burn with passion, burn with words, with ideas, with desire for what it is that she truly loves. It is actually this passion which causes the cooking, and a woman's original ideas of substance are what is getting cooked. To cook for the Yaga, one must arrange that one's creative life has a consistent fire beneath it. Deep breath. Most of us would do better if we became more adept at watching the fire under our work. If we watched more closely the cooking process for nourishing the wild self. Too often we turn away from the pot, from the oven. We forget to watch. We forget to add fuel. We forget to stir. We mistakenly think the fire and the cooking are like one of those feisty houseplants that can go without water for 8 months before the poor thing keels over. It is not so. The fire bears. It actually requires watching, for it is easy to let the flame go out, and the Yaga must be fed. There is hell to pay if she goes hungry. So it is the cooking up of new and completely original things, of new directions, of commitments to one's art and work that continuously nourish the wild soul. Deep breath. These same things nourish the old wild mother and give her sustenance in our psyches. Without the fire, our great ideas, our original thoughts, our yearnings and longings remain uncooked, and everyone is unfulfilled. On the other hand, anything we do which has fire will please her and nourish us all. In the development of women, All these motions of homekeeping, the cooking, the washing, the sweeping, quantify something beyond the ordinary. All these metaphors offer ways to think about, to measure, to feed, nourish, straighten, cleanse, and order the soul life. In all these things, Vasilisa is initiated, and her intuition helps her to accomplish the tasks. The intuitive nature carries the ability to measure things at a glance, to weigh in an instant, to clear off the debris around an idea, and to name the essence of a thing, to fire it with vitality, to cook raw ideas, to make food for the psyche. Vasilisa, through the doll of intuition, is learning to sort, to understand, keep in order, and clear and clean the psychic premises. Additionally, she learns that the wild mother requires much nourishment in order to do her work. Baba Yaga cannot be put on a lettuce leaf and black coffee diet. If one wishes to be close to her, one has to realize that she has an appetite for certain things. If one is to have a relationship with the ancient feminine, one must cook up much. Through these chores, Baba Yaga teaches, and Vasilisa learns, not to cringe away from the big, the mighty, the cyclical, the unforeseen, the unexpected, the vast and grand scale, which is the size of nature, the odd, strange, and unusual. Do not cringe away. Women's cycles, according to Vasilisa's tasks, are these: to cleanse one's thinking, renewing one's values on a regular basis. We are right on time. To clear one's psyche of trivia, sweep one's self, clean up one's thinking and feeling states on a regular basis. To build an enduring fire beneath the creative life and cook up ideas on a systematic basis means especially to cook, and with originality, a lot of unprecedented life in order to feed the relationship between oneself and one's wildish nature. Vasilisa, via her time with the Yaga, will eventually integrate some of the manner and style of the Yaga, and we too. It is our job, in our limited human way, to pattern ourselves after her, and this we learn to do, yet we are awed at the same time. For in Baba Yaga land, there are things that fly in the night and are arisen again at daybreak, all summoned and bidden by the wildish instinctual nature. There are the bones of the dead which still speak, and there are the winds and fates and sun, moons, and sky, which all live in her great trunk. But she keeps order. Day follows night, season follows season. She is not haphazard. She is both rhyme and reason. In the story, the Yaga finds Vasilisa has completed all the tasks set before her, and the Yaga is pleased, but also a little disappointed that she cannot rail against the girl. And so, just to make sure Vasilisa doesn't take anything for granted, Baba Yaga lets her know, though you managed to do my work once, doesn't mean that you can do it again. So here's another day of tasks. Let's see how you do, dearie, or else. Vasilisa again, via the intuitive guidance, accomplishes the work, and the Yaga gives her the grumpy and begrudging stamp of approval, the kind that always comes from old women who have lived a long time and who have seen much and somewhat wish they hadn't, but are rather proud that they have. P-Fra. See what I mean by using our senses, using the earth, using our bodies as communicators for all this understanding and wisdom that we don't need people, props, or payments for. We don't need a middleman. We don't need a translator, although it's helpful. So, Carmen, what you got to say about that one in the context of our Taurus and heart chakra?
Okay, there we go. Yes, I love that story. Man, so many good points there. What I think I want to talk about is the idea from the very beginning of the persona being an outward manifestation of mastery. That was how they put it, right? An outward manifestation of mastery.
And power and authority, yes. how we present ourselves to the world, what we want to be known for. This is another big theme in the Venus Circle.
I love that. I love that, and I see it, woven all throughout the story when they talk about the washing of the clothes particularly, but also just the idea of ordering the house and clearing out space being really vital in order for the wild nature to thrive. I felt like for me, when we got there, it circled right back to that point of the persona being the outward manifestation of mastery. But in order for us to actually embody, to have the substance of mastery, we have to do that internal cleansing as well, and that I'm a Virgo rising, so that whole thing also spoke to me.
And I like to on a regular basis. That just pounding that home. We can't let it sit for years at a time where we don't pay any attention to our creative selves or our soul selves and things like that.
Exactly. That consistency is key. And that, for me, early on in my spiritual journey, I think I thought that engaging with the wild nature meant, constantly kind of, I'll use quotations around going with the flow, but in a way that was very haphazard. In a way that was, kind of like devil may care, like I'm youthful, let's just see what happens. And later on in my life, I came to this question of, why have I been so reckless with myself? Why have I not ordered my house in a way that is going to sustain me in the terms that this story uses? So I think that was just a really, really valuable metaphor for how we can approach this journey, approach being human and being woman with a sense of balance around what will allow us to truly flourish. It's not all one thing, it's not all the other, but it is consistency and constant attention to keeping ourselves renewed and tending that fire.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway for me, too, is not to be so feast or famine with the fire, to keep more balance with that fire, a little fire every day instead of big blazes and then, being totally out of juice.
Exactly, because the Baba Yaga is not going to be happy with burnt food either.
Hello, good morning. Not having it. I know that's right. Okay. Well, our divinations are pretty cute, too. We've got some deep things coming forward. I always get notes afterwards that people get their validations. We are using the Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards because every single card has a different culture of ancestors that want to give us a message and a reminder. And we got Reconnect with Mother Earth, whose keywords are plant, garden, and harvest. And it is the Incan culture, which is renowned for engineering and adaptation. The Incan people transformed the plains, deserts, mountains, and tropical jungles by constructing roads, buildings, terraces, canals, and irrigation networks. So deep breath. This reminds me real quick in between how I talk about us having our individual base and then building bridges outward to other communities, to other circles, to our family members, to whatever. So keeping in mind that some bridges get more traffic than others, but they are things that you get to cultivate. So this is like literal and metaphysical, all of the above. Crop rotation and fertilization were used to produce crops, including potatoes, nuts, maize, pepper, avocados, tomatoes, and quinoa. The Incas appeased their deities with rituals, songs, and offerings, as when they were unhappy, they could cause droughts, floods, and earthquakes, all of which would affect their crops. The calendar was marked with religious ceremonies that were held in holy places called huacas. The Incan goddess Pachamama is akin to Mother Earth. She represents the feminine soul of nature and is the provider of life, food, animals, and water. Connected to the mountains, she could cause earthquakes, but also had the power to sustain life. She was ever present in Incan life, and many shrines were devoted to her. Mother Earth is calling you. This is a reminder of how important it is for you to be outside in nature. Let's double down on that. You may have drawn this card because you have been too busy to go outdoors. It's time for you to connect with trees, plants, and the earth. You are encouraged to learn more about gardening or horticulture, Planting some herbs, tending to your garden, or spending more time outdoors will benefit both your mind and your body. There is great joy in eating straight from your own garden. Consider growing your herbs, fruits, and vegetables. If you already grow your own plants, this might be a nudge to get out and give them some TLC, some tender loving care. Being out in the garden is great for your energy. It is relaxing for you and good for the environment too. And so for those of you who came on late, I had no internet service all day and did not expect that. Like they didn't send a note saying was putting in new wires. But when I called in, they knew that this whole area was out. I just remember thanking God that we were supposed to be on a conference call and not the computer. And then I ended up on the computer anyway. But I got to be out in the garden all day is my point. When the internet didn't work, I got to go out there and dig. And that, I swear to God, made a difference in my stress levels when I came back in here and had to do the two-step to get us right. So when I went to our Vision Quest Tarot and asked for guidance this month, we got Mother of Earth, caring, and when I said clarify, it gave me Father of Earth, reliability. So we got the masculine, feminine down. That is another piece of earthly magic that we have to keep in mind, that one doesn't work without the other. We need both the masculine and feminine to create, period. So the key words for mother are caring, kinship, nurturing, generosity, physical health, fertility, connection to nature, and needless self-sacrifice. We're not doing that anymore. We are doing self-preservation, which is essential, not selfish. It is essential that you tune into your body right now and listen to what it needs. By taking better care of yourself, you strengthen your entire network of connections and relations. Begin by being very kind to yourself. Then the circle of giving and taking will at last become complete. Then there is harmony all around, and you will feel the added strength that you sorely need to fulfill your worldly responsibilities. Okay, deep breath. There was something that Carmen said earlier that made me think of what Yeye said earlier in another class, was that we can talk to our cells and our DNA directly and have a positive effect, y'all. That is absolute. It's like how we breathe or talk into water, and we know that that impression goes into the water. Our bodies are water. So we need to remember that we can receive that. We need those messages working, right? Oh, I know what my point was that Yeye said, because we're doing this now with our own bodies and our own cells, we are literally the ancestors of the future. We are affecting the DNA codes of the future. So that's the other important piece of doing your own coding yourself and talking to your own cells directly and calling in the goodness that nourishes, and it ends up fortifying the good cells, and we don't feed those negative cells so they don't thrive. To care for others takes a lot of strength. Therefore, it is essential to maintain a healthy balance. Nobody is better off when you collapse just because you can't stop helping everyone in need. Your task now is to find a resting point within yourself. Even though an infinite power resides within you, a human body can only go so far. Kindly respect its natural limits, and then you will have all the strength in the world at your disposal. Deep breath. And it was interesting, we got the feminine first, so again, go within first, and then go without to find the tools and things that we need to make it happen. So Father of Earth, keywords are reliability, diligent work, harvest time, strength, thoughtfulness, benevolence, insistence, stability, discipline, and sometimes rigidity. It is important to strengthen your contact with the earth now, meaning a certain amount of grounding is needed. This will give you greater stability and inner firmness. Just the thought of being able to rely on your inner self can renew your strength. Focus on your earthly qualities at this time. Feel into what area you need more grounding. In order to complete an unfinished project, you need a sense of safety as well as internal stability. But work just for work's sake is not energizing enough, merely a burdensome necessity. Soulful work, work that you don't even consider as such, provides the satisfaction that you seek. That kind of energy investment strengthens your self-confidence and gives you the faith that you are on the right track. Ashe. So again, with relying on ourselves, relying on our systems, knowing what we need, knowing our comfort zone and our level of comfort and security, like know your level, I've talked about that in past calls too, where I know my level and a certain way I have to live because the way I grew up was not my level. So, darling, come on back. You can touch on any of those divinations and walk us through our closing meditation. And thank you, everyone, for being here and hanging with us.
Absolutely, yeah. Those divinations were lovely, and I feel like they tied everything together so perfectly. And what comes to my awareness right there at the end with getting that, that balance, feminine and masculine reading, is that the soul work we choose to do is directly related to our self-nourishment and self-care, and that when we find that intersection, when we find that interplay really between those aspects, that not only are we talking and changing the code for the DNA going forward, as Yeye so rightfully and eloquently put it, and healing generations going backward, but we are also operating on the plane that's right here and right now. As we heal ourselves in this plane, we become healing to everything that we touch. A healer is one who is healing herself. Y'all seen the meme. We know that as we do that work, as we find that cycle and that balance within us that's going to be truly nourishing and authentically aligned with who we are, that when we go out there in the world, whether it's with other people or whether it is with the plants in the garden or the animals that communicate with us that we call our companions, whether it's with the mountains and the elements, that the work that we do on ourselves contributes to this symbiotic relationship that we have with Mother Earth and Father Sky, truly, that as we do the work, that we kind of send out that healing through our electromagnetic field. Again, we were talking about that too, to everything around us, everything that comes into contact with that sphere. And that's just a really beautiful thing.
Yes, that is amazing. And we are so supported, you all, to come into what is going to fulfill you, what is going to give you the energy, like she said, rather than obligatory, burdensome connections. We're moving away from that to what inspires us, what brings light and beauty into our sphere so that we can radiate more of that out as well. But sometimes we have to go in and do some soul work first. So what you got for us in terms of meditation?
Yeah, so I want to lead you all through a short snippet of the meditation that leads up to focusing, which I mentioned earlier, which is one of the central practices that I use for connecting with my own body and particularly with my own heart, and really listening to and becoming aware of its needs and its desires in order to make plans for my life moving forward, do my healing work, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, this is something that you can practice with a partner, or it's something that you can do completely on your own. No matter how you do it, make sure to give yourself the proper space and time that you need in order to connect. We'll just do a bit of an abbreviated practice today, just as an introduction and a nice way to close out the space. All right. Just taking a nice deep breath to prepare to relax the mind and drop down into our bodies. Pay attention, see whether you are comfortable in your seat. If not, feel free to adjust. If so, that's beautiful. Taking a moment, starting at the top of the head, feeling your scalp, your forehead, inviting them to relax. Inwardly speaking the words, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. deep breath and moving down to your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Just noticing what's there. And then taking a deep breath, intoning the words, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. Moving into the arms and the hands. Taking a moment to notice anything that's already there, any sensation, any tension. Acknowledging that. And with a breath, we intone the words, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. And now to the torso, to the diaphragm and the stomach, to the back. Taking a moment to notice and acknowledge anything that you are feeling. And with a nice deep breath, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. And now to the pelvis, the hips, and the thighs. We take a moment to connect, to see what's there, to acknowledge. And then breathing into that part of your body. Intoning the words, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. And down once more to the knees, to the lower leg, and to the feet. Take a moment, feel what's there, acknowledge what's there. And with a deep breath in, I invite you to relax and I send you peace. And now coming to our area of focus for today. Back to that midpoint, that bridge center, the heart center. And take a moment to turn our awareness completely there, now that every other part of our body has been able to relax and receive peace. We focus our energy here at the heart. And we take a few moments just to breathe. Just to sit with it. Just to notice what's there. Breathing is normal. Awareness may wander, and that's okay. Just return it to the heart center whenever it strays. Take note of your heartbeat, its rhythm and its cadence. Feel the air filling your lungs and exiting, and connect with your rib cage. Is it open? Is it constricted? Is it tight? Is it loose? Take note of your chest. Is it slouched, contracted, or lifted and open? Take note and acknowledge that wherever you are is absolutely fine. And now beginning to breathe deeper into the heart space. Sending green light energy right into the center of your heart. Another deep breath in. And as you breathe out, allow anything that you feel is not beneficial to leave with the breath. Another deep breath in, green light energy. And exhale to release anything that no longer serves you, that no longer serves your heart. Come back to normal breathing. And as we close, internally speak the words to your heart. I acknowledge you. I am aware of you. I will engage with you in practice again. And I will act according to your needs. You can trust me. Ashe. Taking your time slowly to come out of the meditation. Beginning to move your body, hands and feet. Opening your eyes when you're ready. Coming back into awareness of your space. And intentionally remaining in the awareness of anything new that you've learned about yourself during this practice. I thank you. I thank the Creator. I thank the ancestors for allowing me to be present in this space and allowing me to share this meditation with you. I thank you, Kelly, and I thank every being here for participating, and I'm excited to remain energetically a part of this community moving forward.
Oh, thank
Ashe.
you. Yes, we are investing in self, ladies, and investing in our needs and our heart and the things that we are passionate about. So thank you all for being here, and thank you, Carmen, so much. That was beautiful. I can't wait to come back to that. It's so good to have a little meditation to turn to, just to go back to your heart. It really, I felt it when you were like, you can trust me. That's a big one, y'all. Talk to your heart. Remind them that you're back and you're ready to be committed in that way where you can trust yourself, your soul, your higher self, and your senses and what they're telling you along the way, because they are filtering the information for your system. So you want to be able to have those settings the way you need them to be. And I'm just very grateful for Carmen's contribution and energy. And yes, we will do it again in other ways. We're going to get in our bodies, because this was also one of those loud shots from the internet that I'm like, get in person, and then it won't matter if I have Wi-Fi. So we're going to figure out ways to get in person, everyone, once or twice a year at least. All right, everyone, peace and love. Carmen, I'll be in touch. Send me your note and your links. All right. Thank you, everyone. Be well.